show you how I made this tip-in that goes along with By the Well for God's new devotional kit. This devotional is about the road to salvation in the book of Romans, also known as the Romans Road. I will be using the Free Indeed stamp set and the Tulip Garden stamp set from By the Well for God's shop. I will also be using some of the paper pieces from the kit and also these cute little apple tile stickers. Some VersaFine Black Onyx ink, a clear acrylic stamp block, some Versa Magic chalk ink that Lori chose to coordinate with the kit, some Fantastics, one with a brush tip and one with a bullet nib, a pen and a pencil, and a piece of vellum cut to fit my Bible. Mine is 8 inches by 6 1/4 inches, and it fits very well into my Journal the Word Bible. Some clear embossing powder, and this template that I created to go along with the theme of the kit. You can find a link to the free download in the description box below, so jump on over and print you one out. Okay, so first off, I'm going to create the tulip garden along the bottom. The stamp that I'm using is from the Tulip Garden set. I have to place the stamp at an angle on my block because my block is smaller than the stamp. A bigger block is on my wish list, but until then, this will have to do. I ink my stamp up and place it in the center on the bottom of the piece of vellum. What I love about this stamp is that it is repeating. So you can make the image as long as you want. You can simply ink it back up and line the edges up and stamp again, making a seamless image. I had a little problem right here. The tripod for my phone was in the way, so I had to get up and stand up and get to where I could look over this and line this up better. So I had a little trouble right here, but the stamp is very easy to use. Next, I am going to add embossing powder over the stamped images. Then I will remove the excess and pour it back into the container so that I can use later. Then heat it with my heat tool until the powder is fully melted. Now I'm going to add this sweet little girl to the garden. Notice I'm trying to create a mask to cover her bow with a piece of paper. I want to add a bow from some of the textured raffia later. The mask didn't work out quite like I wanted it to. Whenever I was inking it, the ink pad kind of grabbed the mask. But that's okay. I finished inking up the girl with just the edge of my ink pad and it worked out perfectly. I do the same steps with the embossing powder as I did with the tulips. The reason I am embossing these images is because the ink never fully dries on top of this vellum. It just kind of sits on top. Now I'm going to grab my template and place it underneath. I will move it around to place the road right where I want it. I want it to look like the girl is walking on the road. Whenever I finally decide where I want it, I begin to lightly trace it with a pencil on the vellum, just tracing the road and the hills. I am not tracing the clouds at this point. I will cut the clouds out and add them later. Now, I start to color my images using the Fantastics. I use the brush tip for the smaller sections and the bullet nib for the larger sections. I love using these Fantastic sticks. You can use them for many things. I will be using them to color my image using the coordinating inks. Just swipe or roll the tip on the ink pad to pick up the ink and then color the image just like you would with a crayon. Just simply color the excess ink out on a scratched piece of paper when you want to change the colors. Sometimes I use a baby wipe to remove the color if I'm switching to a lighter color. So I decided I wanted to add the wheelbarrow full of tulips on the side. This stamp is actually included in the On the Road devotional kit. I repeat the same steps with the embossing powder, then add color to the tulips as well. And then I continue. Now, you don't have to color just perfect using this technique. You may have noticed that I've gotten some of the ink on top of my embossing, but that is okay. Two ways that you can remove the ink off of the embossing. After the ink has completely dried, you can simply rub your finger over the lines and remove the ink, or you can flip it over to another piece of paper and rub the back of the image and transfer the ink off the embossing onto the scratch piece of paper. You will see me do that in just a moment. Next, I traced the road and all the stones with a small tip micron pen. I did not want bold lines with the road. Notice I'm tracing this on the back side of the vellum. Then I flip it over and erase my pencil lines. Again, I just didn't want dark or bold lines. I do pull some inks from another kit to color the road, the wheelbarrow, and her skin. I make sure all the ink is dry by heating it with my heat tool just a little before flipping it over. Then I flip it back over, and I will now use the bullet tip Fantastic and fill in the larger areas. I color it on the back side so I don't have to be as careful around all the little details. Okay, so now I will add all of my paper pieces. I cut the clouds out of my template, and I'll add them to the sky with some glue. Then I add these gorgeous butterflies. I wanted to make them kind of 3D, so I folded them right at the base of their wings and just glued the body down. Next, I added the small alpha stickers to spell Romans to the paper piece that said "On the Road," so that my title would say "On the Romans Road." I cut a thin strip of the included raffia and made a bow for the back of the girl's skirt, and then that's it. That's all there is to my page. Now, off camera, I attach the tip end to my Bible using some double-sided tape, adding another butterfly, some washi, and a tab. I will add my journaling later, some on the vellum and some in the margins of my Bible page. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed.